was sort of curious about your entryway into Nick, because he sort of feels like a guy who is happy to play a role. He's a guy that is happy to sort of like let the night take him and become...
Oh, sure. Well, I think that's, hey, listen, if you got a guy who right away kind of shows his underbelly as this brooding, conflicted, damaged goods, I don't think it's nearly as dynamic as someone who kind of has this veneer that takes some time to chip away at.
When you first sat down with Chris Evans, what did you talk about to find the character?
I didn't talk very much, he talked a lot. And he's got a lot of ideas, and he's very eloquent. And we had a Skype session. I was in London, and he was, I guess, in his house in LA, and he and I spoke about, well, he told me what he thought the film was and what he thought love was and the story he wanted to tell. And I thought he had a pretty clear vision of what he thought love was, and I was interested to kind of tell the story with him, I guess.
You got to try and find someone who's willing to trust you. It's not going to be easy finding an actress who's going to throw their hat in the ring with a first-time director. But I had seen Alice's work, and especially, I mean, it's a movie called She's Out of My League, which is, it's a very commercial film, and it's not very similar to this movie. But to play a character who's supposed to be, in that film, the epitome of the ideal woman, yet still be likable, is not an easy feat, and she pulled that off very well. And she's very educated. I mean, she went to Oxford. She understands the process. She understood the character, and like I said, she's very well spoken. So she really just kind of she just made sense.
Was there a point though where it was like, well, the director hat is on as opposed to the actor hat?
Yeah, and then I was like, knock it off. I was like, don't do that to me, Evans. No, totally. And he had the whole film in his head, and he liked telling the story. But I don't know, it didn't feel like he was the director. It felt like he was there and we kind of made the movie together. And then, of course, he had to go and edit it, and before that he had to pre-produce it. So yeah, of course, he was doing a lot of stuff, but he made it look easy.
There's a lot of films that this reminded me of in little bits,
Sure.
And I'm curious what some of your influences on it were.
Well, I mean, there's some great up all night New York movies, but none of them really felt the same, vein, like After Hours, things like that. It's the city plays a role, but it's not the same as a movie like this. Obviously, you got the Linklater movies, the Before Sunrise, which movies I absolutely love. But it's not meant to be in those veins. It's just a story that I actually connected to. I like those movies where I like movies that have heavy dialogue. I like movies that feel like theater. I like movies that take place in a finite amount of time. I like limited casts. You get to kind of watch the evolution under a magnifying glass as opposed to these, broad sweeping epics where things happen over long periods of time.
There's sort of an Alfred Hitchcock vibe to it as well.
Ooh,
There's a mystery.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's another thing. I like kind of the audience's eyes being parallel with one of the actors in the film. We learn as we go the same way the characters learn as we go. And so both of these characters are kind of chipping away at each other, and the onion slowly being peeled. And that's a kind of, I think that's why the movie kind of gains momentum in the second half once the plot starts to unravel a little bit.
And one of the other ones that's maybe out of left field is Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Whoa! I'll take it. Hey, man, listen, no matter what movie you're making, if you're getting compared to Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you're doing something right.
How can one of the worst nights in my life also be one of the best? Do you know the most interesting thing about hotel art? It's what's on the back.
Gotta go. The hookers are here.
We probably shouldn't touch anything in this room.